And we're live. Hello, world. I am Victoria Wilder. Here, let me show you my face for just a moment. Hi. I'm going to stop that now. I am wearing makeup today because I just want to. I want it to be for me and not for anybody else. It's my private makeup day or whatever. But still going to be off camera because I don't feel I just don't feel like I have the energy to be on camera, to look into the camera, to see my face on the screen, and every now and then look up and go, oh, look, she's kind of pretty. Um, I just don't have the energy for that right now. But we are going to be doing some writing sessions today. I wanted to do it a little bit earlier. I'm sorry I wasn't here Friday. I know I said I'd be here in my check in on Thursday, but I think we all forgot that little tidbit where Victoria does what she wants. JK. Or not really. I do what I want. But also that day, I guess I just really wanted to sleep because I slept all through Friday. And I feel like I slept all through Saturday because I'm kind of amazed it's Sunday. On Sundays, I generally don't do anything like outwardly. I tend to try to avoid social media. I tend to just like take care of myself, take care of my stuff at home, take care of my pets. Today, I'm going to be doing my hair after this. I know I'm always braiding my hair. That's just life. I will be braiding my hair all day today and probably tomorrow and probably the next day. We will be doing one more write-in tomorrow, I hope, fingers crossed. And then our next write-in will be on Thursday, December 3rd. Yes, Thursday, December 3rd. But today we will be doing our usual writing sessions. If you are new to the channel, first of all, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Please like, subscribe, say something in the comments or the chat box. Let me know you're here. But if you're new, we essentially just kind of write for like 15 or 20 minutes. And in between, I kind of ramble for about 5 to 10 minutes. And some people come and they join me and we chat in the chat box. I haven't done a live with someone just yet. I'm looking forward to doing that someday, though. So if you're out there and you do YouTube and you do write-ins and you want to do a live video and you want to actually talk about something of substance instead of my usual rambling, I am here for it. I am here to serve and work with you. Let's see. I would like to share this.
Serve and work with.
I would like to share this so that people know that we're live because I'm using StreamYard, and with StreamYard, I can preset or pre-schedule a video, and then it lets me do all the normal stuff. But I almost never do that. I always end up just coming here and starting when I'm like ready instead of scheduling any videos and posting it that way, which is probably the smarter way to do it. You know, schedule your videos, put it out, let people have a little bit of time to know that you're coming and you're doing a live. But we don't do things the smart way here. We do things the other way, the Victoria way. Let's call it that. We do things the Victoria way, and the Victoria way sometimes, often, makes life look a little bit more difficult than it is. So as you can see in the title, we are doing not only a write-in, but we're doing a Q&A. I found some questions upon the interwebs, and I will take those questions, which I have only glanced at the first 2 of, and I will try to answer them to the best of my abilities in between our writing sprints. I will take around 5 or 10 minutes to do them each, and then we'll do some writing. That seems like the way to do things. Let's see. I'd like to also share this on my Facebook page, which I very frequently neglect. Why do I neglect it? Well, here's the thing. Facebook kind of blows, and I'm kind of over it. Not gonna lie. Just kind of over Facebook. I post maybe once a day, something to let people know I'm still alive, let my friends and family know I'm still around. But honestly, it could be anybody posting. You wouldn't know. Nobody would know. Okay, so that's posted. It is now the 06. Let's start our first question that I found on this website, which the website I'm using right now is youwritefiction.wordpress.com. I think it's someone's blog. And I was just looking up questions about a work in progress so that I could answer questions about my current work in progress to keep them in line with the essential topic of this channel, which is writing. It's our stories. Even though I ramble about everything, we're supposed to be talking about writing. So we're going to take the next 4 minutes, and I'm just going to say, let's do the first question. Introduce your work in progress. Well, my work in progress is called Scourge of the Lilitu. It is the sequel to Lullaby of the Lilitu, which you see on your screen here as my avatar. And it directly follows the events in Lullaby of the Lilitu. They're about a month apart, so a few weeks have passed since the last scene of Lullaby of the Lilitu, and or since the last scene before the epilogue. So it's literally right after the epilogue of Lullaby of the Lilitu. It's like the same week, the same day, essentially, as Lullaby of the Lilitu's epilogue, and we are following Rio, the main character from Lullaby of the Lilitu, as she's trying to escape the consequences of what happened in the first book. I'm trying to say this without giving too many spoilers, but she's trying to essentially free herself or escape in a way from the consequences of the first book, which have led her in a not so nice space. She is running with her, I guess, sister slash lover, Mia. And I think the story is more Mia. This second book is more Mia's story than it is Rio, even though she's still the point of view character. She's still the one whose head you get into the most. But I feel like it's largely a story from Mia's point of view, from Mia's experience, and the journey, I think, is more Mia's in this book than it is in the first book. And I love Mia. She's probably my favorite character, but that's another question. In fact, why does your protagonist pull at your heartstrings? So that's question number 2. And if we're talking about Mia as the true protagonist of this story, because Rio was never intended to be the protagonist of any of these stories, she just happened to fit. But Mia, I think, is the true protagonist of Scourge of the Lilitu, and her loyalty is really, really big to me. Like she loves so true, and so she's so devoted to the object of her affection, whether that was at one point Cayenne or whether that is her sister, her family, whether that's Rio. She's very, very devoted to the person she loves and the person she's trying to take care of and protect. And she'll do just about anything to keep that person safe and to try to, I guess, not necessarily make that person happy, but support that person. And this journey is a lot of her kind of going between her need to be loyal to one person and her need to be loyal to basically her whole species, and her need to be loyal to her family unit, the smaller unit. Okay, so that's how I feel about Mia. It is now the 10. We are going to go ahead and start our first sprint. It's going to be a 15-minute sprint using the NaNoWriMo timer again. And we'll be back with more questions on the other side.
Hands up.
And that is time. I was able to write 198 words. 2 more words and I would have had an even 200. Oh, hello, Binary. Hello and welcome. I hope you're doing well. In fact, let me know how you're doing. That's a better way of figuring that out. Tell me how you're doing. You just missed or joined our first sprint. Let me know how long you've been here. So that was our first sprint of the day. We are going to do another one, and I'm going to take a little bit of time to do a Q&A in case you missed the explanation earlier. Today, I'm going to be answering some random questions about my work in progress. And if you guys have any questions for me, whoever's watching, feel free to ask them. Like I said earlier, I just found these questions online on someone's blog. I've only looked at the first like 2, so now we're getting into questions that I haven't even glanced at today. And hopefully I'll be able to answer them without giving you guys too many spoilers about this book or spoilers about the first book. And just for fun and posterity, I'm going to go ahead and show my face one more time. Hello. Hello. And then that's just because I'm wearing lipstick and I want people to see it, even though it is only for me, and I did it so that I can feel pretty. I mean, what kind of nice person would I be if I didn't share the pretty with the world, right? Right? Anywho, let's move on to our next question. Binary, let me know how you're doing when you get a chance, if you're still around. So question number 3 is, how do you get to know your characters? How do I get to know my characters? Honestly, I have to, I guess, talk to them. I know it sounds a little bit weird, but like, I will spend a lot of time trying to understand where they come from, what like really traumatic event probably happened in their life, because especially with this work in progress, with Scourge of the Lilitu and with Lullaby of the Lilitu, most of the characters have some sort of trauma that they're experiencing throughout the story, or that they've experienced that brought them to where they are in the beginning of the story. This book in particular, Scourge, since it is a sequel, a lot of the characters I've already done that process with. I've already taken the time to figure out their history. Like I said, Mia is kind of the main protagonist of this book, and for her, I have a short story called Maria, which you can get on my website if you're a member of my newsletter, or if you buy Lullaby of the Lilitu, it's in the back of that book. But I do have that short story about essentially how Mia became who she is in Lullaby of the Lilitu. So I was able to spend time with her in that way with the first book, and then writing her in Lullaby of the Lilitu and just kind of experiencing and exploring her journey in that book. Even though she wasn't the point of view character, the main character then, she is probably my favorite character of this series. And so being able to write about her past and write about how she experiences the events that are happening in Lullaby of the Lilitu really, really helped me know kind of what her motivation is in Scourge of the Lilitu. Of course, there's Rio, who is the narrating character in both of these books. She's the first person point of view character. And I really just kind of, in the beginning, was Rio in many ways. Like, by the time I finished this book, I was years away from the person I was when I started it. But when I started it, Rio and I were very, very much alike. And I mean, we may still be alike, I don't know, but I feel like I've grown a lot more than she had the chance to do. but she's very broken, and her life, just from start to finish, like even from early childhood, even though she doesn't really remember it that well, but from early childhood, her life has just been running and trauma and loss and fear and, you know, dysfunctional family dynamics and heartbreak and never really getting the truth out of the people around her, the people she's supposed to trust the most. They don't really give her the truth. And I resonate with that a lot, even today, but especially back when I was first writing her. But of course, Rio and Mia are not the, like, older characters from Lullaby of the Lila 2 are not the only characters we have in Scourge, and we have kind of a big cast, so I can't really go on and talk about all of the characters in this cast, but there are a few different people, and I really have to look at what brought them to this point, because all of these characters, all of them have a history that goes way beyond the events in the books. All of them have some sort of connection to one another, and most of that is being seen through Rio, who is the newbie, essentially. She shows up in Lullaby of the Lila 2 brand new to this world. But all of the rest of the characters who are here, they've known each other for quite some time. Minimum, Mia being the youngest in this particular family, minimum, she's got around 90 years of experience with these people. And then we have other characters who've been around for hundreds of years, who they're not human, so they've been around for hundreds or thousands of years together, and they've come together, they've separated, they've come back together, they've separated, they've experienced different parts of the world, they've experienced just so many different things, and they all have this deep history with one another, this connection, this unbreakable bond with one another. They are all I don't know if this is in the first book, and I don't know if this is a spoiler, but there aren't a lot of Lilitu that exist in this world. There simply aren't. And so their community is very small. They all know each other, except the very few in Lullaby of the Lilitu in Rio's family for specific reasons. And now they're getting to know the rest of their species, the rest of their people. But it's not necessarily on the best terms. So I really have to think about, all of the interactions they've shared before and all of the interactions how that's going to paint all the interactions they're going to share in the future. And so I really have to approach all of my characters, especially in this series, together. I have to approach them as a community, as a unit of people who all have individual needs and all have individual hopes and individual expectations, even the ones who seem bound at the hip, even the ones who are so deeply connected that they almost could be one character. They each have their own specific mindsets and specific goals and specific pleasures and dislikes and tastes. And I really try to think about all of these things as much as possible so that they're as fleshed out mentally as possible. They may all kind of look alike, I don't know. Mentally, I need them to be fleshed out. Excuse me. I have like hiccups all of a sudden. Let's see. It's almost at 35, so we're going to go to the next question, and then we'll start on the 40. Share a line about your premise. No, I'm not going to do that one. How easy is this work in progress to write? Not. This has been probably of I've only written 2 other full novels, and of these 3, this is probably the hardest, which you wouldn't necessarily expect. I didn't necessarily expect, because it is a sequel. So like I said, I've already spent a lot of time with most of these characters, but I have to write it as a standalone story that is based on this other story. So it's like, it has to still be an enjoyable, full story from start to end. It's not a serial, it's a series. So this book has to be, from the beginning to the end, its own tight narrative, its own thing. But it also has to explain a lot of stuff from the first book, and it has to connect to the first book, and it's directly a direct result of the first book. It's a direct consequence, direct follow-up, direct timeline after the first book. So it has to not only be able to stand on its own, but it also has to stand as part of a collection, as part of the unit of the series. And for some reason, that's just like really exhausting to me. Like I have it fleshed, I have a huge outline, and I'm sure when I finish this first draft, there will be more to add, but it feels like there's a lot of pressure. And I guess because of everything that's going on in 2020, for me, it's been a lot harder than writing the first two books. I've had much less desire to do it. And not because I don't care about the story, not because I'm not enjoying writing the story. I actually am when I'm in it, when I'm in the zone. I like it a lot. I like what has to happen. It's almost as if, though, I've spent enough time with this world and with these characters that I feel like I already know the story. So there's less for me to explore. There's not nothing for me to explore, but there's less for me to explore and figure out, less new things. It's more, I kind of already know the journey that we're going on at this point. And in part, that's because of the extensive outline that I did, but that just makes me less, I guess, excited to actually write it all out, because in my head I've already seen the story. But I mean, there are still some surprises, and there are some surprises to come. I just have to allow them to come and be a little less, I don't know, lazy about it. Okay, we still have 3 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and answer the next question. Which character is hardest to write? Oh, which character is hardest to write? Honestly, I'm going to say Rio. She's very complicated, and she's not like a neurotypical person. Like, she doesn't see the world the way the people around her see it, and she doesn't understand many things. And that way, me and her are a lot alike. Like, she doesn't really understand the rules of the world that she was born into. She doesn't really understand, I guess, the laws of the land, or why they have to be the laws of the land. And she's also not, and I don't want to give too much away, but she's not a reliable narrator. She's not in her head all there. She's not completely in control of what's in her head, I should say. She's not entirely sure whether the things she's thinking are her thoughts or someone else's. And that's pretty consistent from the start to the end, even before, all the bad stuff happens. She's really never sure if she's acting on her own behalf, or if she's following some sort of programming, or some sort of someone else's direction, and she's always kind of struggling between knowing what's her and what's not her. And I think that's something I deal with a lot too. But just as writing her and trying to make that clear, and trying to make that translate really well on paper, I'm not sure I've done that well. Only my readers can really tell me that. I hope so. But I do know it's really, really difficult. And in this book, Scourge of Lilitu, there's some added difficulty. Her mind, her mental state is very, very fragile. So there's some added difficulty there, and to also be sensitive to that, because I really want to portray some of my own mental health experiences in this supernatural way, and I really have to try to be sensitive to that, but also be as clear and honest as I can from my own point of view. And I don't know if that translates well. We'll find out when people read it, and maybe leave me some reviews. Okay, it is now the 39, so we are going to go ahead and start our next sprint in just a minute. It will be a 20-minute sprint. There we go. It is the 40, so we'll do 20 minutes. We'll write some, we'll come back, answer some more questions, do one more sprint, I think, and then call it a day. See you on the other side.
Time's up.
Oh, time is up. That was 20 minutes, and of that 20 minutes, I was able to write 243 words. Ain't that exciting? So let's say 2, 4, 3. I felt pretty okay about it. Had some moments where I was like, what's gonna happen? I don't know. But we were able to write 243 words. I am hoping that I can get up to 10,000 words by the end of this month, just so I can feel like I made some okay progress in my book. I didn't finish it the way I thought I would, and I'm not going to finish it this month, obviously. I'm not going to write 20,000 words between now and tomorrow night. However, I'm glad to have written at least 10,000 words, and I do want to try to finish this book before the end of the year. Battery says, nice. Yes, 243 words are not bad. Let me know if you are writing, how that went for you. I'm going to go ahead and reset my word count on my Scrivener app. Yes, I think it went well. The character just burst into flames like seconds before the timer went off, so we'll see what happens after that. I mean, it's probably not going to be a big deal. I'm pretty sure bursting in flames is just something she can do. But if it's not, I'll let you know in the future. And just for the heck of it, let's say hello again. Hi. I actually took a couple of minutes to try to wipe the makeup off my eyes because they're burning. I was reading for most of the sprint, but I got some words near the end of it. Nice, wonderful. Reading is also a wonderful way to spend the time. Oh wow, it's quite an end to the sprint. It was quite an end. She just kind of, I didn't expect it. I didn't plan it. Now she's on fire. So, good stuff. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I felt like doing the blue today. I did earlier. I put on this like red shiny lipstick, and then I covered it in gold, and then I covered it in red, and I was like, this should be fine, because that's what I used to do in high school. I used to do red lipstick with this gold lip gloss, and it always made me feel like I was Cleopatra, like I was this Egyptian goddess. But it didn't look good today, so I was like, all right, well, maybe I'll just do black. And then I remembered I have other colors, and so now I have blue lips, and I feel nice. Okay, so I think we'll do one more sprint before we call it, and we'll do that sprint on the 10. So it's 4:03 where I am. It's 3 after the hour. Let me know what time it is where you are. I know you're on the other side of the world, so let me know what time it is there. Also, I'm very curious about your avatar. What sheet music is that? I'd really like to know what song that is. I'm writing something that features fire pretty heavily right now. That is awesome. Exciting. 12 22:03. Is that the name of the song? Oh, 10 p.m. Okay, 10:03. I gotcha. When I was in France, I used the military time, which is, I guess, I don't know if that's what it's called where you are, but we call it military time when you have the 23 hours on the clock. In France, we used military time there, and I was really able to figure it out then. But since coming back, like 3 years later, I'm an idiot about it. But thank you. It is 10 p.m. Wonderful. I don't know whether you're a night person or a day person. I've been falling asleep at weird times. I've been falling asleep at like 6 p.m. and then waking up at 4 a.m. or falling asleep at like 7 a.m. No, we just call it time. Of course. That's the only way to really name it. It's just time. So let's see. We'll do some more questions. If you have any questions you'd like me to answer about my work in progress or about my writing or anything, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and use this blog. And since this may be our last, I guess we'll do some questions at the end, but this may be our last questions. That's just an aesthetic pick I found, not my own sheet music. I do have my own, but that paper is very white, so it's not as pretty. Understandable. Old-fashioned yellowed paper always kind of has like an aesthetic, you know. It always looks good. I have a ton of sheet music too. I have some like it's kind of dirty and old too because I have sheet music from like early college years, and sheet music from some shows they did a few years ago and stuff from like when I was doing cabarets in New York and Manhattan. I have music from that, so like it's always just so nice to see, even though it may not be easy to read if you're me. So, what's our next question? Who is your protagonist's best friend? Obviously, if we're talking about Mia as our protagonist, Rio's her best friend. In the first book, Little by Little, her best friend is actually their brother Yuri. But in this book, it's Rio. And that's all I'm going to say about that. How did the main characters meet? Mia and Rio met essentially. Okay, so officially they met before Rio was awakened, before she became Lilitu. They met when Rio was basically needing to be babysat. Mia was sent by Cayenne to babysit Rio in the place where he was keeping her before she became Lilitu. Afterwards, because Rio doesn't necessarily remember that, they met the day Rio awakened as Lilitu. And Mia was not in the best mood at that time. She was kind of drunk, she was kind of belligerent, and so they didn't necessarily have the best introduction at that time. But it got better. I mean, eventually Rio came to understand what was going on with Mia, and Mia came to understand Rio as who she was, who she is after she awakened, and they found some common ground. Is anyone suffering from a broken heart? Oh yeah. That's all. Everybody's suffering from a broken heart, really. Especially in this book, Scourges of Lilitu. Everybody's heart is broken, really. I mean, they're all going through some dark things, which is part of why I've had trouble writing this book this year, because this year is already so dark in real life. So many things are happening, so much loss is happening. I know, like, not even just the virus and the pandemic, but just life in general has been pretty heavy this year for a lot of us. And so all the heartbreak and all the darkness in this book has just been kind of tough to write, just because it's tough. I'd rather focus on more positive things. I'd rather do things that feel good and that make me feel happy and that make me feel joyful. And honestly, a lot of the stuff that's happening in this book is not joyful. There are moments, there's some moments to kind of break up the heartache and the sadness and the fear, but this book is not necessarily a happy jaunt through life. It is not necessarily a positive story. So yeah, it's everyone's having a broken heart throughout the story. Share a line about love or hatred. I don't want to take the time to look through and find a line. What's a message about relationships in your book? Relationships are complicated. Trust is complicated. Loyalty is complicated. But I guess at the end of the day, love is powerful. Love and family can bring a person from the deepest depths, from the darkest spaces. If you have enough love inside of you and enough love to give, and this is like not just romantic love, but like family love, friendly love, species love. If you have enough love and loyalty in you, you can help people who are hurting, even if you're still hurting. And I think Mia definitely shows that. But also there's one other character who I haven't mentioned, who his love has become his motivation for, I guess, revenge and really like family love. It's so hard to overcome. It's so hard to break, and you don't always want to break it. But sometimes, it leads us into making unhealthy or unkind choices or dangerous choices, and that's something he has to deal with too. Hopefully that explains it. Maybe we'll do our next sprint on the 15. It is the 10 now, but I do want to. We'll do a next sprint on the 15, and we'll do it for 15 minutes, because I think, want to answer some more questions and then call it after the next sprint, instead of doing more questions after the next sprint, if that makes sense. I hope you're okay with that. Whoever's watching, and if you're watching this in the future, well, that's what we're doing, and I guess we can't change the past, so that's what happened. Which characters get along the worst? Oh, that's fun. So there's a character, Cindy, and she kind of hates almost everyone she has to work with in this novel. She hates them, but she's got to work with them, or she doesn't even have to. There's one person, Rio, that connects her with everyone else, that she hates them all. And so she's struggling to work with them. And then there's the one I mentioned earlier, or the one I mentioned a second ago, Samael. He doesn't really get along with anybody either. So like they get along with the rest of the cast the worst. There's no real set of two characters who don't get along. It's like Samael doesn't really get along with anybody, and Cindy doesn't really get along with anybody that well. But definitely no one really likes Samael. I love him. I like him a lot. He's really fun to write, but no one around him really likes him all that much, even though quite often he's not always wrong about his thoughts or his motivations. He's not. At its best, my work in progress dialogue is, I'm going to say, truthful. And it's descriptive. So the dialogue tells a lot, and I'm very dialogue heavy when I write, so it's something I have to go back in and fix and add in more detail about the location and the sentences and all that stuff. Very dialogue heavy when I write. So it's very descriptive about what's going on and what the plans are, or what needs to be done, or like I think it expresses emotion well. I think it does that better than my actual descriptions do. So it's very truthful about like just kind of what's going on. I don't pull a lot of bells and whistles. I don't try to make it sound clever. I don't think I'm a very clever person. So if I try to be clever, it just doesn't work. It's really like I said earlier when I was talking about how I get to know my characters, I think the dialogue is true to who they are. I think it sounds like something they would say, knowing who they are, and that keeps it with some variety, because the characters themselves are so different. So the way they speak, the way they communicate is very different. Even characters from the same kind of background have their own specific speaking styles. Let's see, we have 1 more minute. So one more question. Let's say, the relationship I root most for. Okay, we're going to end with that question. The relationship I root most for. It's probably obvious if you've been listening to me this whole time, but Mia and Rio, like, I love them together. I think their relationship is very important. I think Mia's love for Rio is a very powerful force for them. And I think it keeps Rio, I think it's what's going to make sure Rio doesn't lose herself too soon or at all, if possible. And Rio, on the other hand, her love for Mia is not nearly as strong, unfortunately, and it's something she's trying to understand, and something she's trying to figure out if it's something that will ever be strong, if it's something she'll ever be able to muster up, the love that Mia feels for her, if she'll ever be able to feel that in return. But I think she appreciates Mia, and she relies on her for her for that support, for that love, for that loyalty. She definitely relies on Mia being her anchor to life, essentially. And I think that relationship is so strong for me. I don't know if it's the same for my readers. I know my first few drafts, it was not. And I think it's stronger in this draft, in this book, in this sequel, than it was in the first one. So it is now actually the 16th, so we're a little bit late. We're going to start our sprint. I'll see you on the other side. If you have any questions you want me to answer before we go ahead and ask them, and I'll get back to you in 15 minutes. Until then, happy writing.
Time's up.
And that is time. Let's see how we did. I was able to write 228 words in those 15 minutes. Fantastic, fantabulous, wonderful. How many did I just say? 228. 228. Hello, where is my voice? Where is my voice? It's in my mouth, I guess. Where else would voices be but in my mouth? Who wouldn't want to be in my mouth? I'm sorry. 272, that's awesome! Fantastic. That is a wonderful amount of words for 15 minutes. It always makes me feel good because I feel like if I put in more 20-minute sessions or 15-minute sessions, I could write 1,000 words a day. I guess I just don't want to. I don't know what to tell you. Sorry. I should, though. And if you write 1,000 words a day, you would have a whole book in 3 months. Anywho, that was our last sprint. 272 words is awesome. 228 words is pretty cool. I have one more day before I've reached my 30-day sprint. Although I did cheat a little. Like I have exactly the amount of words that I've written here, but for 2 days I put only 2 words down just so that I would have numbers on those days that I didn't actually write that much. So then I just went ahead today and I wrote 4 words and then I reset my timer so that I have the exact number of words. But those 2 days I didn't actually write. I slept pretty much the whole day. I got up, I did some cleaning those days, but I pretty much was asleep the whole time. Is that healthy? I don't know. Do I feel good? A little bit. I feel fine. I think I'm also still kind of recovering from my weird heart attack scare that I had the other day. We're going to go on camera one last time. It is dark. It is dark. The sun has set. The sun sets at around 4:30. It is now 4:33. Look at that. There's no light in here. Oh my God. This is how I live, though. I don't turn on lights most of the time. What I'm going to do after this is put on a show or a movie or something, and then I'm going to be rebraiding my hair for the rest of the night until maybe dinner time, if I'm still awake, because I've been awake since around, I want to say, I was awake off and on at 4 a.m. and 5 a.m., and then I was officially fully awake at around 6 a.m., and I actually got out of bed at like 7. So I'm already kind of sleepy. We'll see how many braids get done. But that's how many words got done. How many words did we do today? Like as a total, I'm pretty sure I'm able to find out 709 words today. So cool. I have around 500 more words to reach the 10,000 word mark for this month, a little bit under 500 words. So we're going to do that tomorrow. Exciting. We're going to reach our 10,000 word goal. We're also going to have our 30-day progress updated goal. And that's all I got for Nano this year. I mean, I did my best. And then I'm going to try to finish this whole novel by the end of this year. The only light in the room is you and your computer screen. Oh, thank you. That's such a sweet thing to say. Thank you very much. You can do it, and so can you. Have you won yet? Have you won Nano? Are you trying to win Nano? Let me know if you have or if you're very, very close. And join me tomorrow so we can do some more of this writing stuff. And actually, if you're on par to win Nano, I'd love to be there when it happens. I love to, get a little whiff of the winner's smell. I'm sorry, that's gross. But I'd like to be around when that happens. Let's see. Any more questions? Do we have any more questions for the Q&A for the day? How long do you expect to be working on this work in progress, hoping to finish by the end of this year. Fingers crossed, toes crossed, eyes crossed, but that hurts, so I'm not going to do it for long. Hopefully I can get this book done by the end, this first draft done by the end of the year, so that I can take some time off, work on some other stuff, work on my short story, which I'm publishing in February for Valentine's Day, and get that whole anthology situation together. Yeah. You did it yesterday. Oh, congratulations. 53,000. Nice. That's amazing. How long do you think your book's going to be by the end? How far along do you think you are now? Because I know 50,000 usually isn't enough for most people to say that their book is done. My first book was around 80,000 words. And I think Diva is actually my shortest book so far. So it's probably going to be like a novelette or something. Let's see. Diva, how long are you, darling? We're going to find out how long Diva is, guys. And also, if you've been hearing me talk about Diva and you'd like to read some of it, you can read the first 8 chapters of Diva on Patreon. So if you become a Patreon of mine, even I think just for $1, you'll be able to read the first 8 chapters and any coming chapters of Diva. And I'm probably going to end up putting most, if not all, of the book on Patreon this way because it's fun. And right now, Diva's only at 42,529 words, so it's really less than 50,000 words. I'm a Nano rebel. I don't write novels. That's cool too. What did you write for Nano? What are you working on? Is it a bunch of short stories? Is it essays? Is it poetry? Is it songs? I actually wrote a song the other day called Spider, and it is about it is essentially a song from the point of view of the spider's web, telling the spider how much it loves him, I guess. And so I wrote a song the other day. What are you writing for Nano? Short stories. Fantastic. I'm in this group on Facebook called Voices of Color. It is an open group. You may join, and if you do join and you write romance short stories, then I'm doing an anthology for February that I just mentioned a few minutes ago. And I'm looking for more stories to join our anthology. So, but they have to be from that group. So if you join Voices of Color, you can submit to the anthology and publish with me, I guess, essentially. Oh, hi, kitten. Hello. You guys want to see a kitten? Don't look at me. Look at the baby. Wow, look at him. Isn't he gorgeous? Oh, look at him. Isn't he sweet? He's so very precious. I also have a kitten under me, here under my desk. And let's see. Do we have any other kittens nearby? I don't think so. Usually they're all around me, but sometimes they'll go sleep in the sink in the bathtub, or they'll sleep like in the laundry if we have clean laundry, or dirty laundry if they have access to it. They have a lot of kitty beds, but they don't really sleep on those that often. They'd rather sleep on me and our stuff and right under my feet, which I hope never changes. Okay, everyone, I am going to go and do my hair. Time to do some braiding and some binge watching of whatevers. Maybe some shows, maybe some movies, maybe some... those are the only 2 things I binge watch. So that's what's going to happen. That would be nice, but I don't write romance. Pretty much all my characters are aspec. I feel like I know that, but I don't know that. What does aspect mean? Please help me know that. Also, you don't have to write romance. You do. It has to be a romance story, but I don't know. I feel like trying all kinds of genres is really fun because I don't really write romance. So the story I'm writing is kind of like my version of romance. I knew it on the aromantic asexual spectrum. Okay. I mean, I guess that wouldn't really work for the romance genre since romance and aromantic tend to butt heads. Although asexual, I think you can be romantic and ace, obviously. Um, but yeah, you don't have to write. You don't have to join us. But if you have any friends, send them our way because so far we don't have very many stories. And if we don't have enough stories, then we can't publish the anthology. I honestly just need like one or two more because our Christmas anthology is only 3 stories. I'd like more, but I'll live with just 3 or 4. I'll survive. I will survive. Na 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 na. Okay. I have to drink some water. I have to eat some food because I haven't had anything since breakfast, other than my monster trail mix here. This beautiful stuff. I gotta eat. I gotta fix these braids because they're getting frizzy and fuzzy. And I gotta kiss some cats and wash my eyes because the makeup is still burning my eyes. My eyes, they never get a day off where they're just gonna be okay. Have a nice meal. Thank you. And you have a nice night. You have a beautiful, wonderful, amazing night. Please, as always, everyone remember that I love you. I am so, so grateful and so thankful that you're here. I very much appreciate the support that you guys bring to me, especially you, Binary. You're here like all the time, and I really, really love that. I really support that, or I appreciate that support, I should say. And I support it. I support what you're doing. Thank you. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for thinking I'm an okay person to spend some time with. And good luck with all your writing and reading and other endeavors. And I'll see you guys probably tomorrow, but if not, I'll see you on Thursday. Bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. That's it. Goodbye.